You grow older, get more sophisticated. You don't become bigger unless you're willing to sacrifice your comfort, make yourself a little vulnerable. They don't grow. So leaving people in their environment, which is comfort based, is not a school for getting people to grow. Everybody knows you come to Eretz Yisrael is to grow. Why Eretz Yisrael? Because it hasn't made it here. What do you mean? Eretz Yisrael is no longer third world. Technologically, it's all the way up there. People are not into their emotional comfort here. In their physical comfort, they don't need it as much. They enjoy Gashmias. They're okay without it. They know how to spend money before they earn it. They're okay. See, people work hard in America. They work very hard doing what they're comfortable with. Here, people are not afraid to leave their comfort zone. It's in the air. The kids here are not spoiled. Here, it's Shia to get people to grow.
Yeshivas are getting a lot more comfortable here, and in my humble opinion, it is producing somewhat better results or good results or somewhat growth is happening. Is that agav or
You say the yeshivas are getting more comfortable. If what you mean is that the yeshiva, the Gashmis, the yeshiva is a little better, that's okay. That's okay. That's not the problem. That's not the problem. The problem is being needy and especially emotionally comfortable. But what goes on in most of these, the gap year yeshivas, or the yeshivas that tell you they're a gap year and then get you to stay for a couple of years, guys grow. The same with the seminaries. Kids start making demands on themselves. They really work on themselves. It's in the air. Come on, being a Yid is being an idealist. And what does that idealism manifest itself? You know, activism in America is rarely hands-on. Most activism is sitting by a computer. Activism here, oh, what are you talking about? It's making sacrifices for what you believe in. It's a different world. In that sense, that's why JK is here. You know, we want you to be idealists to no end. We understand that whatever we put into you, unless the wives are also getting the same thing, you're going to be handicapped. And in truth, when a woman tunes into her idealism, they'll have a hard time keeping up with it. Women idealists, they're so motivated and they get on with things. They don't just talk. For some reason, Jewish women know how to do things. So now we've hit upon a new matzav. Countries at war. What does it mean the country's at war? First, I mean, what happened down south? Even the anti-Semites are embarrassed. A lot of them are quiet. And the country's mobilized. First of all, so much of the population, men and plenty of women too, are in Miluim. When the roads are empty, you think everyone's staying at home? Most of the country's just not here. They're not home. Up north, it's shaky. Here, Yerushalayim, yeah. If you didn't grow up with it, you get scared by an air raid siren. Israeli kids are not scared. They're busy doing their own sirens all day. Yeah, but for people who didn't grow up with it, it's scary. For the Israelis, that's not what it's all about. There's something that happens here during wartime that is so beautiful. And there's any time to be here where people really grow is during wartime. And you have to join in the culture, not the culture of being scared. First, there's all the exciting stuff, hosting people from the South. There are so many homeless. Some because their homes no longer exist, and others because they don't have where to, they're not going to stay there. Eat for food for people in the South. And for Chayalim, country wasn't prepared for this. They drafted everybody. They don't even have enough food for them. People are sending food. They're collecting clothing. People in the South that are left with nothing. So that's that's the more exciting stuff, the more exotic stuff. And then there's Pashid, one another, neighbors. They need chizuk. The elderly, there are people alone. People need chizuk. This is the time that nobody's inhibited. This is the time that you don't need an excuse for knocking on someone's door. If you're not going to do it, ask them how they're doing. And they're not going to say, who are you? Why'd you come for? In time of war, this is normal. Yes, from, not from. Wartime is a time where everybody here is in it together. And whatever inner fears they have, they're able to overcome them to be there for one another. This is the time that people grow so much. And above all, priorities. Same priorities. When you realize what's going on, the trivia that we get so worked up over suddenly disappears. All the nourishkeit that we're into in this bond, oh, this isn't working, and it's all nourishkeit. People's lives are on the line. Jews are being tortured in Gaza. You're going crazy because your internet keeps getting all messed up. This is a time to grow like no other time. If there's any reason for being in Eretz Yisrael to grow, it's now. There's a really a Malcolm Sakana. Come on. We're so fragile. Still much safer in Yerushalayim than on any highway in America. Just on the highway, you don't have air raid sirens. Now more than ever. Soak it in. Get into it. Feel what's going on. Don't live on the web. Live real life. What the media does is just counterproductive. Well, it's very productive for them. But this is really the time to grow. And this is the place to be. Be proactive. Do things. Do things. Encourage your wives to do the same. They're barely coping, how they're supposed to help a neighbor. They'll see that how much they're in a better position when they're helping people. Most of what's going on is they're going out of their minds. Helping others is rewarding. It builds their own confidence. They know why they're here. Otherwise, so again, they came to grow. This is it. This is the opportunity. This is the opportunity. Make the most of it. And don't forget to grow yourselves. I would hope that your davening is so different from what it was till now. I would hope. Unless you're spending too much time on media and your mind's running wild and you can't focus on anything. And learn with a different seriousness. I think I said it all. Get the message, share it.
Just want to triple check. If we hear sirens and we're learning, we don't have to move, we don't have to get up.
Here, I don't think so. On that side there are windows. Where are you going to go?
Even by the window, we should. Okay.
What?
Even if we're by the windows, as long as we're learning, we should be okay.
You should be okay anyway.
Considering the learning.
Yeah, there's another side of it also. I mentioned it agav yesterday, but now I can talk a little bit more beferish, although I don't know where this is going to end up. In Yerushalayim. I'm talking for Yerushalayim moment. The odds of a rocket falling here are so slim. Still, so what? But the hysteria that is created by running does so much damage. People are tense and anxious. In the neighborhood, I told the wives, ignore. I told the women to ignore. Simplest Torah, I told everyone, ignore. Come to shul, bring your babies. Pretend there's nothing to it. I knew what was going on. There was someone bringing me information from the non-Jewish workers in the old age home here in Shomer HaChaimis. I knew exactly what was going on. All the horrific stuff. I knew what was going on. The one thing with regard to our kafas, after our kafas, we put back all the Sifrei Torah before we started Kriyas Torah, and we did your Gimel Midas. And everyone felt there was something really going on. The way you could hear the Yud Gimel Midas, it did not sound like simplest Torah. It was louder than Yom Kippur. It is so important, really, to prevent anxiety. If parents are anxious, kids are anxious. Don't traumatize your kids. Shalayim is the danger The danger of the panic is so much more real than the danger of stuff falling to you. That's my feeling. If it can be done calmly, do something nice, fine. But if it's going to create anxiety, you're better off ignoring. You're better off ignoring. In the neighborhood, I just made it a rule. Ignore. Yeah.
It sounds like what he's saying, that if you're gonna panic, ignore it. If you're not gonna
In the
panic,
neighborhood, as a klal, for a kehillah, I felt the right thing to do is tell everyone to ignore.
So what's the getter when you don't ignore it? So like Rockefeller moves, on Kfir Shechak. At what point do we say that now is the like in
When the
baseball-
sirens go off in Yerushalayim, that means something was shot to Hore Yerushalayim. That's what it means.
Mhm.
For that, we don't have to run into Miklatim.
When, like in 70, I mean, when do
In Beitar, I have a daughter in Beitar. You go into everyone's got a mamad. That's where you go.
how do you know? I'm saying, how do you know when? How do we know when
Yerushalayim is Yerushalayim.
how loud the boom is? And I didn't know.
You heard the booms.
I thought that was a lot of what's
This is nothing. I mean, I have 2 kids in Achi Samach. The stuff falling all over Rishon and all around them.
Thursday.
Achi Samach is next to Lud. It's in Lud. It's in Lud. Their mamad is shaking.
And
I'm saying their mamad is there. You belong in a mamad. Here, we hear this distant, thunder's louder than that.
Some of my nerves are nothing to do with the rockets. Like I live like right next to our neighbors, and like I'm so nervous about like just people crossing the highway, and my door is like the first one, and like that's all my nerves are about that. Like just people going house to house and having crazy people.
I know that our imaginations run wild at times like these. But recognize it's your imagination running wild.
I mean, the whole attack was wild also.
What's this?
The whole attack was wild.
Come again?
Witnesses sometimes down south, like their communities.
That was so freak. The whole thing was so freak.
In Wood, they had it 2 years ago.
So what's been going on in Yerushalayim all the time? What's changed? What's changed?
The whole opera. And they accept it. No, they're worried they have anything else to be said about inside of this. You live next door. No fear for any.
Believe me, there are plenty of dangerous criminals walking the streets of New York who hate Jews. You want to let your imaginations run wild? There are green monsters walking all over the place. Yeah.
you're gonna make blood and stuff like that.
What?
You're gonna make blood and
It's a very good thing. Very good. The timing, I understand, is problematic, but it's a very good thing. There's a need for a lot of, so if you have type O especially. Okay, that's universal. Right?
and then
Let's
helping
say
out
that.
soldiers,
What?
helping out or stuff like that with food.
It's a very good thing.
So we should.
Sure.
Overlearning.
No, I didn't say overlearning. Giving blood, you may have to take a morning off or something to give blood.
That's
But
worthwhile.
what?
That's a good trade-off.
I mean, it's an important thing. There's a real need for it.
Missing say that's hours in the line there.
I say, well, miss one Seder one day.
Really,
Like I said,
they need it, but there's no shortage right now. They'll donate. Is there, it was 3 hour waits, 3.5.
Yeah, but I mean, from what I understand, they need a lot of blood.
I'm saying is that maybe it'll. Wait, right, the goal right now.
So what you're saying is that we may as well wait for it. Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, right now they're filled to capacity anyway. They're filled. Yeah, they're not sitting there idly waiting for the people to walk in. Maybe wait.
But at night, if we have a choice of learning an hour, we're going to be sandwiches or something.
I think your learning is going to do more. Your learning is going to do more, but you get your family to help out with that. It's a great activity. It's a great activity.
If a wife and parent want us to go to Mamad, should we listen?
If it's going to create hysteria, no.
It's okay, especially if the wives are nervous to go on buses and trains just to visit Shiur Tzedek. To visit Shiur Tzedek was to go on buses and trains. That also consider shtatless not to go.
That's why the only problem is you have to wait long at a bus stop because the buses are not so regular. There aren't enough drivers. Most of them aren't really.
It's okay to go on the buses and trains.
Yeah. Intercity buses are not they're not running so much. And depending on where you're going, I'm talking about within Yerushalayim. Within Yerushalayim,
But Shiur Tzedek,
they've told us, at Aish, we're in touch with the police, mamish the whole time. And they say, people aren't coming to the Kaisel. They don't get it. They say it's safe there. Totally safe there. There's nothing doing. What? Spare time. Yeah. Again, listen, I think because of everything that's going on, we're overstimulated. It's very hard to focus. You should train yourself to focus. Because in Yirtzeh Hashem, you're going to be a very busy person. And you're going to have lots of things going on in your life. And if you don't train yourself to focus when there's a lot going on, where you can just turn the world off, get into your learning and forget everything else. If you're not capable of doing that, then you're not going to be able to learn much. Ever. You have to train, push it. It's a matter of training yourself. It's training yourself to turn the world off, get into what you're learning. It's hard. Eventually you get there. You keep trying. At first you can focus for a minute or two, then you can focus for 5 minutes, then you learn to focus for 15 minutes. What? It's practice. It's push it, it's practice. It's like all exercise.
Represent meditation is one of those techniques.
Meditation is great if you can do it. Can you meditate these days? If you can meditate, then you should be able to learn.
Breath zone.
I try to know. We have a class twice a week. We have a class twice a week.
What?
We have a meditation
Oh.
class.
Okay.
Some of that's easier.
Listen, it's easier to get distracted when you're learning Be'iyun, that's for sure. Iyun, unless you're very focused, Iyun lends itself to finding yourself, an hour later, where am I? To daydreaming.
Read the film or like.
But if you should learn, especially if what you're learning halacha, for example. I don't just mean dry halacha. A sugya, like the way we learn it, where you really have to focus, you have to practice. Keep trying.
Better than Till.
Listen, if you're not successful, say Tilla.
But the Icarus would be like a safe, like a.
The Icarus to learn. The Icarus to learn. Everyone should be saying Tillim too, but the Icarus to learn. Yeah.
That's a totally random question. I mean, it's not totally random. It's like a little bit random. Like, it's not one. Right, it's true. If you were prime minister, like, what would you respond?
There is no answer. There is no. This perhaps is another whole discussion. All these big talkers. All this big, we're going to teach them. First of all, the Israelis don't buy it anymore. We've heard that so many times. Oh, this time we're going to show them they'll know. You said that last time. There's nothing to do. There is nothing to do. Fine, get rid of us. And Jenin, and Syria, and Lebanon, and Iran. And then Hashem is going to find somebody else.
It's going to happen regardless, Rabbi.
Of course.
Why respond at all?
What?
Why respond at all?
That's
I'm not even sure it's a shtadlis. I don't know how much of the response is strategic and how much of the response is because the people are demanding it. I know it sounds crazy, but that's probably what's going on.
The hostages, like, what are they gonna do? Nothing to do. Like, what are they
There's
gonna do?
nothing to do. There's nothing to do. I'm sure they're going to use them as human shields.
they already
I'm
said that.
I'm sure, I'm sure they're going to say, "Oh, you just killed another one." I'm sure they're going to do it. I'm sure they're going to do it, and they're going to ignore. I'm sure they're going to ignore. You have to.
I love that they're allowed to. That's
Yeah,
Obama
yes, yes.
Obama
They're
place that
terrorists.
there's a
They're
Yitzchak.
They're terrorists around. They're terrorists. They're being massacring everybody.
Even if you're gonna buy, they kill a yid there in the middle.
There are terrorists all over the place. Who knows how many they killed? Zaka's still working. They hit 1,000 yet. They did already.
I mean, the guys on Zoom are asking, why is it not shared big no signs that the idea is imperfect people listen to it? It seems like Rabbi shit about ignoring is against what everyone else is saying.
I think everybody else, it's just the government.
I don't know.
I get those people across juice from it.
Nothing, just
Why is it-
questions.
For the Americans to stop talking.
Two.
Two. I have 3 people on my color. 3 or 4 on the road, but if no one is thinking this time, you have to launch up with the same scenario.
In the beginning,
Maybe the guy in America wants to know why we don't have.
I'm telling you, on Simchas Torah, I just told everyone to ignore.
Mark told me to instead of asking the question.
The government has to cover themselves. The odds are so low, and once again, panic, and especially among chutzniks, and especially among chutznik women. Anxiety, panic, these are real threats. People have breakdowns from these things.
Would you let your kids play in the park?
What?
Would you let your kids play in the park outside?
Yeah. You should be there. Don't you have to know where your kids are. You have to know where your kids are. Yeah.
I heard Rebbe on 2 different occasions said that, we Jews are not like, the terrorists. We're not going to just destroy all Gaza. Why not? Why should we risk our soldiers? Why not just scorch it with policy?
As if it were going to be effective.
But nothing's gonna be affected. Might as well wipe them out as much as we can. Being serious. Rebbe said nothing's gonna be effective anyways. Might as well wipe as much
Not only their lives when they danced around dead bodies, they spit in our dead. These are regular people. They support Hamas.
There's also plenty of people who didn't do that.
Should we be talking, thinking, learning about the shit?
Our anger and frustration, which is where it's coming from. Our anger and frustration. That's not what should determine how we act. What we have to do is answer a strategic question. Is this going to work? Is this not going to work? That's the issue.
So morally, there's
As
no
far as innocent civilians there, Hamas was democratically elected, The only innocent civilians in Gaza today are the hostages. They were voted in. They were voted in.
voting, Democrat.
Yeah.
So it's a hard question, but what's the attitude towards the soldiers? On one hand, we certainly appreciate what we're doing, but it's very hard because
If you had any hava minute, that it was Tzal that was protecting us, if you had any hava minute, the Rebbeinu Shem dispelled that. Okay? The Rebbeinu Shem showed, look. What?
Not protecting the Muslim.
What's that?
The same logic could say Hashem wasn't protecting.
Hashem showed. Hashem went ahead and showed. I've been doing it. I let go for a second. They spent millions on that system there. Billions. What did it cost?
Billions. Tunnel protection was billions.
Billions. Okay, billions. Billions. And there's soldiers everywhere. Thousands of terrorists came in unnoticed. Noses.
Makes no sense.
The Berkowitz just showed. You think it's you? We know the end is. We know the end. Listen, the country's got to do a shtadlis. They have responsibility. Of course, they got to do something. But certainly, anyone that has any seichel understands that that's not what does it. I keep saying the achrayus is us, not them. They don't know any better. They don't know anything. It's us. Yeah.
Rabbi was saying before about being scared of rockets, Arabs coming, it's all just. But the scary thing, at least for me, it's not the rockets or terrorists. It's the fact that it seems like Hashem is doing something.
He did a one-time thing.
That's it. It's one.
It's such a. We've been living here for so long, surrounded by terrorists. The Russian never made something like this happen. Nothing close to this ever happened. It could have, but nothing like this ever happened.
Show that now's the time.
No. It's a charig. It's definitely charig.
The worst is behind us, and now it's.
I'm not going to be a Navi Sheker, and I'm not going to make things up. But this was out of the ordinary. You don't turn this into a binyan av.
Really said on the Zoom that to have missing this work.
It's Pashut.
That are scary thing itself.
No, it happened once. We've been having the Nisim all the years we get Nisim. Once Hashem shows us, just in case you thought it was you.
Was Rebbe here in 73?
What?
Were you here in Yom Kippur War?
I came right after the war.
I mean, what was it like in Yerushalayim when they were fighting? I mean, you have, they were fighting here. What was it like?
In Yom Kippur, no, in 6 Day War, they were fighting here.
What was it like?
6 Day War. What was it like? I mean, my room in the mirror was built right over where the shell hit the building.
They had enemy soldiers in the streets?
No, they were across the street. Of course, there was no man's land today where the hotels are on Shmuel Hanavi there. Kvish Echad, sorry, now it's Kvish Echad. There was no land, all of those hotels, there was no man's land. The UN building is still there.
Fighting in residential areas.
They were shelling.
Shelling, but not.
They were shelling all over. They were shelling Beis Yisrael. They were shelling Meir Sharon.
But it wasn't like what happened down.
No. That happened in different places, but not no.
Everything is not Kamash Kagamaga.
Why? We want Mashiach tomorrow morning. We can't wait for him to come. We're gonna, we got it all worked out now. I'll tell you exactly what's gonna happen. You know what's gonna happen? So Israel's gonna burn all Gaza, and then Iran is gonna respond with nuclear weapons, and then the world is gonna come and attack Israel. That's gonna become what's going on, right? Got it all worked out.
Maybe someone's gonna cut this out of the clip and
I'm
send
sure
it
they're
out.
going to send it out. We're all living in sheker. What are we? Going to make things up. Got it all worked out. Of course, another coping mechanism is being a Mashiachist. During the Holocaust, people didn't believe Mashiach was coming. It's a coping mechanism. Our yearning for Mashiach is because we want the world to come to its shleimus. Our yearning for Mashiach is not because we're suffering and we've got to see light at the end of the tunnel. Light at the end of the tunnel is coming from the fact that we trust the Rebbeinu Shalom. He loves us and he's going to do it for us. Mashiach is another story. The world. Forget them. The world is crazy. It's not what the Rebbeinu Shalom created the world for.
Do you want to work on one simple? No.
I don't know if Simcha is the thing to work on now.
Then people are very like depressed or distressed.
No, not depression. You have to care. Caring for people is not depression.
Not be low, not change your way of life, like the basic thing you're doing.
You have to care. You have to feel for people.
Feeling, but should a guy not
Depression
listen
is
to
not the
music
answer.
and not do certain things?
Don't listen to the news. I think that's going to be a lot more constructive.
Rebbe,
Yeah.
we
It's late. I'd like to get some.
we spoke about the idea that the entire Gaza is guilty. Therefore, if it was the right thing, we could go and bomb the whole thing. I'm wondering halachically, is that correct? I mean, Abraham fought with Hashem about 10 righteous people in Sodom. Sodom wasn't coming out and killing other people, but
That's the answer. You just answered your question.
so
We're not running around killing out all the Rishayim. It's not where we're holding.
no, wait, but hold on, sorry.
There's a different story. It's protecting yourself.
Okay.
It's protecting yourself.
100% of people voted for Hamas, or is this?
No, not 100%. Not 100%.
So therefore, they're all held accountable if they still
What schools are they sending their kids to? What are their kids being taught?
How about the options?
No. That means all the kids growing up in Gaza are being trained to be terrorists. But again, the issue is not forget the anger. It's a strategic question. And as I said, strategic, there's no answer. All the chachamim, they're busy with all the rhetoric. Yeah, this time we're going to do it. No one's got an answer.
It sounds
No civilized country has ever won out over guerrilla warfare, over terrorists. There's never been that in the history of mankind. Certainly even. Yeah.
But how exactly are we meant to address a why sort of anxious and going back to America?
The discussion before these last questions perhaps can help them.
How do we exactly speak to them?
You have to be calm and be clear yourself of what you're doing here now, of why it's important to be. Everything we spoke of.
I already said that it's not a massive satanic here in Yerushalayim, and also Yerushalayim is the place to be in a war. Does that mean both those things are needed? I mean, if it becomes a massive satanic, still the place to be, or
Then you can ask another shayla. Then you can ask another shayla. What overrides what? But certainly in this point, the shayla doesn't begin.
it's still the place to be. It's still true that it's the place to be.
Yeah. So you have a shayla. It's a shayla halacha.
sounds insensitive, but how can we react to 260 Jews that are need to go on Shabbat?
What's this?
260 Jews at a festival, how can we react to that?
They knew what they're doing. The Tanakh Yishin Ishba. What do you do with a country where so much of the country claims there's no Rabban Shalom? The Tanakh Yishin Ishba. We have to ask ourselves, how do we live in a country where we're not affecting people? Yeah. Okay, start the sugya.